Hi everybody, welcome to Fundamentals of Public Speaking. I'm your instructor, Jay Howard, and this is Summer 2017. This video is a welcome video. It's the first in a series of videos you'll see from me throughout the semester. And in this particular video, I want to talk a little bit about what this class is going to be like, some of the topics that you get to select for the speeches that you'll be doing throughout the semester. I want to talk a little bit about plagiarism, about research, about recording videos, and finally a little bit about student-teacher communication. So first, what is this class going to be like? This class is set up on a week-by-week basis. So every week you'll have a new weekly lesson, and you can see that in the course schedule document that is on Blackboard. The things I want to emphasize right now are, because it's an online class, deadlines are very important. You're not in a seated class where me as the instructor can remind you every day, turn that in, turn that in. This is an online class, so you got to stay on top of those deadlines yourself. This is also a summer class, which means we take the normal 16-week semester, compress it into 8 weeks, so things go by really fast, so you can't let these deadlines get away from you. I mentioned that it's set up on a week-by-week basis, so when you sign on Monday morning, you'll see that you'll have a textbook chapter reading, you'll have a video lecture from me, you'll have a PowerPoint about that textbook chapter, you have a discussion board on Blackboard about the textbook chapter, and a quiz about the textbook chapter. That is the kind of routine that we'll get into. Every Monday, you'll have that whole week to do those things I just outlined until Sunday at midnight. Everything is due, and then the next Monday you have a new chapter with a new video lecture, a new quiz, new discussion board, and a new PowerPoint that accompanies it. So I'm outlining this just quickly for the video's sake, but be sure that you read the syllabus for this class thoroughly, and that you're also familiarize yourself intimately with the weekly schedule document. I can't emphasize the importance of the weekly schedule document enough. We will follow it closely, and all of the deadlines and assignments are listed on the weekly schedule. We try to be as regular as possible from week to week so that you can get into a schedule, but sometimes the routine is thrown off when a major assignment is due, for example, or when we get closer to the end of the semester, so things have to be jiggled around. So make sure that you familiarize yourself with the schedule and refer to it constantly to make sure that deadlines are not getting away from you. Okay, let's talk about the kinds of speeches that you'll be giving. We have 4 speeches in COM 115. You have the self-introductory speech, you have a demonstration speech, you have an informative speech, and you have a persuasive speech, and that's all. You will be able to see more detail about each one of those 4 speeches and a sample speech that past students have given so that you know kind of what I'm expecting. That'll all be on Blackboard. Many assignment sheets, rubrics are available for you to familiarize yourself with those assignments. But as far as the topics go, I do not pick out your topics for you. We go through a process where you get to select 3 topics, and then I approve one of them. And that approval process helps me to ensure that I don't have 10 people in the class all giving speeches on the same topic. I try to guide you toward different topics so we're not repeating ourselves. And I encourage you to pick topics that you think you would be really interested to talk about and that you think people in the class might be interested to talk about. I would like to push you away from the stock topics, the safe topics that communication instructors such as myself start to hear semester by semester every time we teach. So for example, when we get to the persuasive speech, don't pick the legalization of marijuana as a topic, because I just finished listening to 4 speeches on that topic in 4 different classes. And so I've noticed that there are some topics that come to people's minds right off the bat, and I'm the same way. But go beyond the first thing that comes to your mind. Think about your other interests and passions and things that are genuinely of concern to you on a day-by-day basis. You can pick those things, and I think you'll get more out of the class if you pick topics for your speeches that you're passionate about, that you have some kind of genuine interest in or personal connection to. So I invite you to pick real topics that you are really interested in, and don't just pick the topic that you think that I want to hear or that you think will be easy and safe. Pick a topic that you really think is cool. Okay, I wanted to talk about plagiarism next. It's important in this class that you, and in all college classes, that you do your own original independent work for a college level class. And I say original independent work when obviously independent work means work you did yourself and not work that you borrowed from somebody else. But the original independent work sometimes trips people up too. Original means that it has to be produced by you for this classroom assignment. So let's say that you took English last semester, or maybe you took a different public speaking class somewhere in the past. If you used topics in past semesters for past assignments, don't use them in this class for new assignments. A lot of times I see people wrote like a persuasive paper in English, and they want to turn around and use that exact same persuasive paper that they used in English for the persuasive speech and communication. And I want to say up front that that is not allowed. I would like for you to do new work for this new college level class. So pick new topics that you have not already produced a speech or paper for. You have a number of interests and passions, and so even if you want to pick a similar topic, I want you to take a new spin on it and do new work. Okay. So that's what I had to say about plagiarism. So far we've talked about what the class will be like. I've encouraged you to pick topics that you like, encouraged you not to plagiarize others or to plagiarize yourself. Now let me talk for a few moments about research. So when you think of public speaking class, you might not think of research as being like one of the big emphases of the class, but it is. You don't have to do much research for the self-introduction speech because you're just talking about yourself, and you don't have to do much research for the demonstration speech because you are just talking about something that you know how to do, and you're demonstrating that process for us. Like I said, you'll be able to read more about that when you read those assignment sheets for those speeches. But when we get into the informative speech and the persuasive speech, those speeches are all about research. You don't want to just talk about your informative speech off the top of your head, things you already know, and the same with the persuasive speech. You don't want to just talk about your persuasive topic off the top of your head, things you already know. Rather, you have to find some credible sources in the library, on the library databases, and also with credible websites from credible organizations that are relevant to your topic. And using library resources like books, periodicals, and using journals may not be something that you are in the habit of doing at this particular point in time. It may not be something you know how to do. And so that's one of the big things that I want you to learn or to practice this semester. Some people think that as long as they give a speech that's delivered eloquently, then it doesn't matter if they have no research, and that is not the case. You cannot get away with delivering an eloquent speech with no research on the informative and the persuasive speeches. I would rather have it the other way. I would rather it be a really well-researched speech where the delivery is maybe not as strong, because the research part is more important to me than the delivery part. I want you guys to know that up front. This class is built so that you get to practice delivery using hand gestures, using eye contact, and organizing a message in a way that makes sense and that's easy to listen to. All of that is important. Delivery is important. But research is important too. So we're going to really emphasize in this class finding good information, using the library, using the databases, and using the internet, as well as books and newspapers. And then we're also going to emphasize citing those sources, giving credit where credit is due, citing them, saying according to XYZ, both on paper in the speech outline assignments that you'll turn in, and also out loud. When you give the speech, you have to cite every source that you use in the moment when you're using it. So we'll get into that in a little more detail when you read the textbook chapters on those topics, but I just want to emphasize up front. For example, like in the informative speech, I think it's like maybe 8 sources you have to use. And for each one of those 8 sources, you have to say according to, and then the name of the person, and then where that person works, and what the person's credentials are, and the year that the article you're using was published, and the name of the article. You want to say all that information out loud, and then say the information itself. So it's a big responsibility, something you're maybe not in the habit of doing, so something that I want you to learn this semester. And I found that I really have to emphasize that up front, otherwise people think it's not important because we never see that modeled for us on TV. The talking heads just get on TV and start talking, and they never cite their sources. So as a result of that, we don't know where their information is coming from. We don't know if it's credible or not. We don't know if we should believe them. We have to change that. We have to get in the habit of, when we're talking about something important, we don't want to just ask people to trust us. We need to let them know up front, hey, here's where my information is coming from. It's good information. You can judge for yourself because I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the information I'm using. Okay, we talked about what the class is like, talked about topics and plagiarism. I've talked about research at length. Now just a few closing notes. When you are recording your videos, because this is an online class and you'll be recording your speeches similar to how I'm recording mine now, except you should be standing up, and there are some guidelines that you'll be able to read about on Blackboard. But the one thing I want to emphasize is that your speeches must be one continuous take. No editing, no film editing, digital retouching or anything like that is allowed. Pretend like it's a face-to-face situation, and if you're giving a speech in a face-to-face, real-life setting, you cannot edit those later. And so you want to be able to do lots of rehearsal before you give the speech, whether it's in person or whether it's online, and make sure that you can get all the way through the speech without any edits needed. Okay, finally, student-teacher communication. I want to emphasize that even though you're watching me on a screen right now, I am indeed a real person, and I do have an office on campus. Even though it's summer, I'm still here, and so I am accessible. You can email me anytime. You can come by my office if you set up an appointment. I'm also available by phone, by Skype, and other means as well, as you'll see on the syllabus. I don't know if you guys can hear that siren, but that's an example of if this were a speech and a siren started going off, you would want to stop recording, go back and do it all again. But I'm not going to do that. This is not a speech. But yeah, get through your videos in a high quality way. If there's sound or a cat that wanders over the keyboard or something, then pause and start over. But I was talking about student-teacher communication. I'm available, and I'd love to meet with you, answer any question that you might have. I just want you to know that you're not bothering me by emailing me. It's my job, and I love getting to know you guys a little bit. I look forward to talking with you about your interests, hearing your speeches, interacting with you through the discussion boards, and also answering any questions that you may have about public speaking as we go throughout the process. So, in conclusion, we have talked about what this class will be like. I've encouraged you to pick topics that you like. I've encouraged you not to plagiarize. I've talked about the importance of research, and I've talked about recording your video in one continuous take, doing enough rehearsal to make sure that you get a good quality speech video. And there's more instruction about how to upload those videos on Blackboard. We'll be using a service called My Communication Lab. And then I ended by talking to you a little bit about the importance of student-teacher communication, how excited I am to get to know you, and how willing I am to answer any questions you have. I think student-teacher communication is important in a online class because, in fact, it's more important in an online class than it might be in a seated class, because if we were seeing each other face-to-face every other day, like on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, then if you had a question, you could easily just ask me before class, after class, something like that. But in a online class, we don't have any of that built in, so very important for you to take the initiative to send me an email if you have a question, and I will respond to it in a timely manner. If I do not, then please email me again. And I'll do the same thing to you. You know, when I send an email, please respond in a timely manner so that we can get any concerns cleared up, because keep in mind, the summer's going to go by fast. So before you know it, this semester will be over, and you want to be able to look back and say, I did all the assignments, I did my best on all of them, I turned everything in on time, and I've had a good semester. This can be a fun class. You get out of it what you put into it, so I can't wait for it to start. Thank you very much.